It's autumn, getting closer to winter week by week, and whilst the temperatures are dropping and the days are increasingly getting boring, it's not so much so if you have extensions to look forward to in the Beijing subway network. We're here in Future Science Park in northern Beijing, where the new Line 17 North, due to open later in 2023, will indeed start off from. Line 17 North starts off from Future Science Park, with two stations there, the main station and a north one just north of the river Wangjing. The park itself is supposed to be a hub for China's central government-owned enterprises, with a primary focus on scientific research, but also featuring energy and telecommunications enterprises. But there's also a fair bit of high-end residential compounds amongst others in the park. Tiantongyuan is known as Beijing's sleepy town up north, but woke up and found itself in 2007 on the Beijing subway map, when Line 5 connected it with 3 stations in the area. The eastern part of Tiantongyuan too will be getting some love, as Line 17 will also add a new stop to the region, aptly called Tiantongyuan East. Line 17 then runs under expansive city parks in the north of the Chinese capital, going non-stop until the next station, Qingheying. The stop after that, Hongjunying, finds itself not too far from Subway Line 13 and Beiyuan Station, but it's probably a bit on the long side to be considered a real out-of-system interchange. Here, it finds itself in a slightly more commercialized part of northern suburban Beijing. The next station on Line 17 North, Wangjing West, is its first introduction to real science of life, and at that, a 3-line interchange. The Line 13 part was opened in 2003. Line 15 was then added in 2010, and now, Line 17 is what completes the 3-line interchange. From this point onwards, Line 17 becomes almost like the Victoria Line in London, going almost always from interchange to interchange. Taiyanggong station is next, where the 17 meets the 10, in what could be, so far, the closest Beijing subway station to Beijing's first IKEA. Xibahe comes afterwards, and is where Line 17 would meet up with Line 12. Now, the way they've done Xibahe subway station here in northern centralish Beijing is the work site's right behind me, and is actually, well, not just an ordinary hoarding, because everyone's living around the station. They want to keep it quiet, so they've actually done it in a form of a noise prevention or noise blocking wall. That, I think, is actually pretty considerate. By now, Line 17 North runs closer and closer to the city centre, just flirting with the perimeter of the northeastern second ringway at Zuojiazhuang, its sole stop to itself in the centre of town, all very much residential. And it's both residential the old-school way, as well as the Super Towers way, with Beijing modern MoMA amongst one of the more famous skyscrapers in its immediate vicinity. Finally, Line 17 North terminates for now at Workers' Stadium, also known for short in Chinese as Gongti, home to Beijing's Guoan Football Club and the rather infamously potty-mouthed fans dressed invariably in green. It's also close to Sanlitun, home to bars and especially shopping centres galore, including Beijing's first Apple Store. The station will also be an interchange with Line 3. For this introduction of Line 17's new 2023 stations, we're calling it Line 17 North because Line 17 itself actually exists today, but in the southern third only, from Xibahe to Lake Jiahui or Jiahuihu. That part of Line 17 opened up in late 2021. In addition, as part of new Beijing subway additions also slated to open later in 2023, Line 16 will open up another 2-station phase later this year, extending services to Hongjunying and Wanping Town stations, all in southwestern Beijing. The latter is close to Luguoqiao or Marco Polo Bridge, but also somewhere more somber, as the place where the Japanese invasion of the 7th of July 1937 is remembered. Both this extension to Line 16, as well as Line 17 North, as well as the rest of these 2 lines, will be operated by the MTR, as in Beijing MTR, whom also run other lines. These include Line 4, including the part in Daxing, as well as Line 14. Yes, much the same as that MTR from Hong Kong. You might have also noticed, by the way, that there are bits of Line 17 still missing. 4 new stations in central Beijing will open later, around late 2024, due to challenges tunneling and building stations in heavily built-up parts of the city centre. In particular, take note of Dongdaqiao. What's currently a Line 6 only station will not just have Line 17, but 2 more lines added to it, creating a 4-line interchange. Of these, 1 to the more central parts of Beijing's CBD and the elusive East Railway Station, and 1 leaving town altogether, first to Yanjiao in Hebei, then dipping back to Pinggu in the far eastern end of the capital. The latter will also connect to the new City Hall in Tongzhou. Line 17 North, the major addition to the network later this year, starts from Future Science Park North and terminates for now at Workers' Stadium, and is 24.5 kilometers in length, featuring 10 stations. Of these, 2 will be interchanges when it opens, with 3 more interchanges to come later. The 2-station Line 16 extension in the southwest is around 4.5 kilometers in length. None of the 2 new stations are interchanges. Late December 2023 is cited as a time when these new extensions will open. Historically, they've tended to open on a day to be selected on short notice, from the 28th to the 31st of December. So when all is said and done, and at least the extensions to lines 16 and 17 open later in 2023, the Beijing subway will have about 840 kilometers in total revenue mileage length, still making it one of the largest subway systems in the world.